Well, good morning, everybody. Let me wish you happy All Saints Day, actually. I wanted to put out this video because I've got just, of course, the entry into discussion thread 9 is most important. I shouldn't say most important, but that's what this video is going to be addressing. And we talk about, I think, in 9, the relationships now we have between, let's say, government and business, right? Um, when you look at Duska's reading, he kind of lets you down this road of, hey, what's this relationship supposed to be like? At least those are questions that should come to your mind. Um, to what degree does government need to regulate business? Should business be left alone to do its thing? Free market capitalism, if you will. Um, Menzel, then really gives us a nice background into what the founding fathers, if you will, felt should be, at least some of them, the ethical principles behind elected officials. Now remember, a lot of the folks that signed the Declaration of Independence were, chased down, hung, um, killed, their properties taken from them. These people paid a price for the independence and the freedom that we enjoy today. So, you know, uh, we think about today's elected officials. I'm from New Jersey. We've had corruption in New Jersey for years. I mean, it was nothing new. Um, Now we're seeing more of what's been hidden here in Washington, D.C. And it doesn't matter what political party, it doesn't matter where they're from, the corruption is pretty bad. And so, what is this relationship? How do we kind of change it as public servants? What do we do? Well, I've been working here in D.C. for close to 30 years now, and the way most good federal employees or public servants feel is that, look, we don't care what administration comes in. We don't care if they're Republican, Independent, or Democrat. We don't care. What we care about is maintaining, if you will, the bureaucracy. And in a way, that's a bad thing, you could say, but in a way, it's a really good thing. We look at incoming administrations and politicians and the political appointees as viruses. I hate to tell you this, but it's the way we look at them. Not all. A lot of federal people, um, look to brown nose, if you will, and to curry favor. Um, but for those of us that are serious-minded about the nation, and about the role of our government in maintaining a healthy social compact, we look at the incoming folks as transitional, and we maintain our systems, right, at the agency. We try to be true to the agency mission and vision, to the legislation Congress has given us. We try to do the best we can with the appropriated dollars. We maintain good systems of internal controls. We monitor performance metrics. All those things is what we do, and we subject public, or rather the political policies that come down to those very systems, and we push back and challenge where we think we need to. What you're seeing, though, is that when a president, or even Congress, but when a chief executive, and it could be a mayor, can appoint their people, they can begin directing outcomes. We've seen it in government now, more now that the dust is settling with the COVID pandemic, the mandates for vaccines, the lockdowns. People are really starting to wake up and say, hey, wait a minute. This was government overreach, where the government silenced doctors who were, and scientists recognized, some of them maybe even Nobel Prize winners, who were saying, time out. The vaccine, let it be voluntary. Have you not heard about the Nuremberg trials? So the issue there will be a really interesting one for those of you that are pursuing public administration as a career. I think you're going to enjoy these readings and the discussion thread. Some of the more sobering news I have to give you this morning is that I have suspicions that a very, very small number of you have been plagiarizing or kind of really close to plagiarizing. Um, those of you who I've contacted, more than one, you know who you are, and I've advised you that I've taken you at your word that you have not plagiarized. Please understand that does not mean that I believe you. It means I'm taking you at your word. I am neutral. Okay, I have a degree of skepticism based upon what I've seen and what I know. Okay, some of which you don't know. So for those of you that have been contacted, you know you're on watch. For those of you who I have not contacted, who may be on the border or have plagiarized, and I just haven't caught up to you, be wary that, or be aware that I will be monitoring in a different way your discussion threads and your papers. I dislike having to say this, but paper 2 is talking about courage. Well, I have to have the courage, and I certainly do. At this point in my life, if I didn't, I shouldn't be sitting here. The courage I'm exhibiting, if you will, my duty, my obligation is to point this out. Now, this has not only been noticed by me. I'm not going to say who or how, but others have also noticed a possible trend of plagiarism. So what is plagiarism? You can look it up yourself. Taking someone else's intellectual property, their work, and claiming it as your own. Whether you go to Google, whether you go to Wikipedia, whether you go to ChatGPT, or whether you go to these other websites that my 2 nephews in college or just recently graduated from college told me, hey, Uncle Dom, these discussion threads, we can get answers. And they even told me which websites. I forgot what they are, but they told me which websites they would go to. I know it's out there. So the thing is, we're trying to build integrity in government, at all levels of government, and it starts with you, the individual. So if you can claim someone else's work as your own without giving proper citation, that's plagiarism. Borrowing, if you will, or as one may say, being inspired by someone's post. Nothing's wrong with being inspired by someone's post. But if your post is so closely related in syntax, in tone, I mean, this is why some of the songwriters and artists sue one another. Because, hey man, you're using my notes, you're using my melody, you changed up some of the lyrics, but hey, wait a minute. That's plagiarism. Now again, what pains me is that you're graduate students and you're looking for careers in government. Don't you think we have enough corruption from the White House? Now it's going into your house, or maybe it's been in your house. Some of you may have learned how to lie very well, but your lies will be uncovered. So in this class, please note, papers 2 and 3 are going to be graded slowly. I'm looking at probably everyone's paper in a different way. Discussion thread, number 9, this week's. I told you in the syllabus, at least in writing, and I think I may have mentioned in one of my earlier videos, I don't need long, verbose explanations. You can make your explanation short, sweet, and to the point. For discussion thread 9, I'm going to be paying particular attention to, which means your grade will be tied to, not your initial posts. You need to make your initial post, and you better make it unique. What I'm going to be waiting more of will be your interactions with one another, and especially with other students who you've not yet interacted with. I want to see you probing one another, questioning one another, all in a respectful way, trying to help one another learn. That's what I'm going to be looking for from discussion 9 forward. Now, if I decide to change my mind, I will. But I am going to definitely change the emphasis of the grading on our discussion threads based upon the small number of what I suspect, I am not alleging, I suspect, are plagiarized works. I could very well be wrong, but I have to err on the side of maintaining academic integrity that you've agreed to when you enrolled at Rutgers and you've taken this class. So I'm only holding you to the standard that you said you'd follow and comply with. The last point I want to make is I have reserved the right, as most professors do, to alter the syllabus, right? Your final exam is up for grabs at this point. I am going to change the final, I'm pretty sure, based upon the small handful of suspected plagiarisms that I've seen, or I believe I've seen. I'm going to change the final. A word to all of you who maybe are the good saints out there on this Holy Saints Day. Don't worry. If you're playing by the rules and you're being honest, and if something happens that I happen to call you, listen, the truth will kind of find itself out. And you're going to be fine. All right? The very, very small amount of you who are plagiarizing and faking this, I hope to catch every single one of you. But if I don't, understand this, you'll get caught. Some of you have learned how to lie very well, I would assume. Okay? At least one of you is an excellent liar according to behavioral scientists. Remember, 4% of the population, American psychologists or behavioral scientists say, are sociopathic and have no compassion, no empathy. They can lie very easily. So out of this class, there's probably one whom I may have actually spoken to. You may have lied to me, but you're only lying to yourself, because ultimately you're going to get caught. And when you get caught, it's not going to be over a little silly discussion thread. It might be over $1 million transaction or more that might land you with a criminal penalty of maybe prison time. Okay? So you take the chances. You roll the dice. Go back to your discussion thread 9. Think about proper role models. What role models should we follow in order to have a good, ethical government so we can have civil, peaceful society? Think about that. And think about where it starts. It starts here with us. Okay? If you have any questions or comments, well, not so much comments, questions, call me. I prefer over the phone. Okay, so that's what I wanted to put out for today. I'll be releasing Module 9. Note the change in grading. Note the fact that your discussion papers 2 and 3 will take a little longer to grade now. And note that your final exam, I'm changing it up. Okay? I'm sorry for the bulk of you who are honest and working hard that I have to do this, but this is not my first rodeo, and I'm fair, and I tend to reward good performance and punish bad performance. That's how I am. I've always been that way, and I've been successful in my career, even here in DC. Very successful. Follow very simple rules. So again, for those of you that are playing by the rules, and I believe it's the vast majority of you, okay, overwhelming, 99.9%, right? You have nothing to worry about, okay? Professor Savini will take care of you. The others, the small number, watch your back, okay? See you later.